Welcome to another edition of DX Engineering Videos. And today we're here at DX Engineering headquarters in Tallmadge, Ohio. And we have a friend that stopped in. It's Michael Kalter, W8CI. Hello, Michael.
Hey, good to see you, Tim. Great to be here. It's my first time here. And even though you're only a few hours, 3 hours north, what an amazing operation this is.
Well, we're just thrilled to have you here. And Michael, you know, many people have seen you around at various events and around the world, actually, because I do know that you get out and travel, but not many people know how you got started in this hobby. So why don't you tell everybody how you got started?
Well, I figured you'd ask me that question sooner or later. Well, about 25 years ago, and I was a volunteer firefighter and medical rescue, but I had always been interested in amateur radio, and I would dabble in it a little bit, and then I had kids come along, and then when I was a young child, I played with shortwave radios and would just be fascinated listening on it. But anyway, I was called out at a plane crash that was not too far from my house. I live in a rural area, and I had a handheld, and we were trying to find the exact location of this plane crash. And it was Christmas night, and it was getting really foggy. And there was a rescue helicopter that had come, and I was one of the first ones on the scene that actually began to find the location. But as I was looking for it, I asked if we could communicate directly with the helicopter. And I was on a handheld that was it was so remote, it was hard to make communication. And so when I came upon the crash, there were all but the mother was conscious. She was able to walk out, and then there was a child there, two children. One was an older child, maybe, when I say older, 4 years old, and that child was doing okay. And then there was a 2-year-old there that I did rescue breathing on for 45 minutes. And I mean, if you've ever done CPR or rescue breathing for that long in time, and I became kind of really intimately that child's life support. And I found out later, after that, I was totally spent, and I found out later that child got to the hospital, lived for a little while, and died. And it was really hard for me to get over that. And yeah, I went and got therapy for it. But I guess my best therapy was I immersed myself in amateur radio, and excuse me, I was still involved with, it was still in the days when you had to pass the code test, and so I managed to get my extra class license within about 3 months, and never looked back. I've been extremely excited about amateur radio, so glad I did it, and now I'm looking forward to joining the Quarter Century Club.
There you go. Yeah, the 25th anniversary, and you're all set to go for that. Now, you live in Dayton, Ohio, in the Dayton, Ohio area, yeah. And you're a member of the Dayton Amateur Radio Association, and you're the treasurer there. And why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what DARA does, like for the VA hospital? You guys have a project there.
Yeah, absolutely. It is part of our philosophy is we consider on Dayton Amateur Radio Association a pillar in amateur radio, in the amateur radio community. And I don't say that being bragging, but it just has, excuse me, it has evolved that way. And you know, I stand on the shoulders of a lot of people who have been involved in that club since 1929. And we all take our mission very seriously. And so what we try to do, and people always ask, well, all the money you guys must make. Well, we give a tremendous amount of it back. And one of the things that we've been working on is a project at the VA hospital locally. And we were approached by a ham that works there, and he said, can you help us? And so we looked at it, and we put it together, and we're making significant contributions to make that happen. And even thanks to your company helping working with us on that too. So that's just one of the many things that we give back on.
No, that's great. And you have a youth initiative as well in memorial of your of your brother, Dave.
Yeah, my good brother David. And yeah, David is quite the amateur. He's a lot better than I was. He came into it shortly after I did, and he ended up passing away. He had cancer, and he fought a really long, hard, tough battle. And I feel that if I was ever faced with that, I would use him as my example, because he didn't complain. He just went after it. But one of the things he did, and Don DeBon, who's our current president of DARA, they formulated a youth group. And they've taken youth to other parts of the world, and they've really tried to foster how exciting amateur radio is to young people. And I'm talking boys and girls. And they've continued it in that tradition, and they've actually named it the Dave Kalter Memorial Youth Expedition. I think I got that right. So that's just another thing. And we give, now I want to say one thing about what Don does. The whole funding doesn't come just from DARA. We support it, but that group goes out and they raise money, they have raffles and get other donations, but we consider it a very important activity that we support.
No, that's just one of many ways of giving back. And of course, there's a lot of people, not only at DARA, but in clubs all across the country, that have really come on board with the idea of giving back and making the hobby better for generations to come.
Right.
Well, Michael, we thank you very much for stopping in today and talking with us here in Tallmadge, and we look forward to the next edition of our DX Engineering videos.
Thank you.